here today. Lockouts will be playing host to Tennessee Tech Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Game will be televised on the SEC Network Plus is the availability on that.
Did you say 1:30, Tony? That's odd.
1:30. Yeah.
Keeping you guys up late.
Yeah, 1:30 p.m. as opposed to a.m.
All right. No, looking forward to being back home again. Acknowledging the 25 seniors that we have that are going to play the last time at Kroger Field. Really appreciate those seniors. Some have been here for a long time, some, not so long, but they've all had an impact, and we appreciate them. And also the support staff. There's a lot of young people that dedicate a lot of time, and I probably don't say it enough and acknowledge them enough, but really appreciate them. Obviously pleased with the victory to get back home and get a good win over Florida. Meant a lot to our team, to our fan base, and to everybody. So, really good and complete game. Just pleased with offense, of efficiency, defense, special teams, across the board, played extremely well. And, once again, I think our players, we've been talking about it, continuing to play with the great effort that they play with, but the execution has been better. And, certainly, you can't say enough good things about Cutter and the way he is playing. I thought, going back and, obviously us as a staff watching it Sunday and, even buzzed it again prior to this, coming in here, so effective. Sure, we'd like to have a couple of those turnovers back, the fumble and the interception. You take those away and absolutely played lights out. Felt like during the game that we could have thrown it a bit more, but you really look at the way the game played out. He was very effective in the first half. The second half, we actually called, because I was thinking about that when he played. You watched it. We called, the first 6 plays of the second half, we actually called five passes. Then, he scrambled for one, got the first down, and the next thing you know, we're feel like you could put a dagger in them. We ripped off some runs, got it in the high red, and we're able to pound it in. And then the very next possession, we ripped off the long run. And, Cutter's day was about over with throwing the ball at that point. We didn't need to, and, just wasn't smart. And, I wanted to play ball, and he needs the snaps, but didn't also want pulling the ball down, running around, getting some kind of senseless injury or things like that. And then also pulled him out with, 9 minutes to go in the game. Very good game by him. And, across the board, I thought the offensive line played very well once again. The running backs, the receivers are all stepping up. Defensively, you can't say enough good things. Coach White, defensive staff, and certainly those players, as I've said over and over again, have great pride in what they're doing, have really responded the right way and played extremely well. Back to back, probably, 2 of the better games that we've played around here in a long time defensively, and it says a lot about them and their character, and so really appreciate the effort. And once again, special teams were solid. Tennessee Tech is a team that has not experienced defeat this year, so anytime you play a team like that, they know how to win. They're obviously well coached and a good football team. So we have to continue to do what we've been doing, and that's concentrate on us no matter who we're playing. Just continue to play with the effort, continue to have great weeks of practice, and worry about, approaching this week and starting today with having a great week. Let's worry about Kentucky getting better and carry that over to the game.
Mark, with how Cutter has continued to really flourish and get more and more comfortable, are you guys able to just give him more in that offense and let him do a little bit more ad-libbing?
I mentioned I feel like Bush has really done a good job. Certainly the second part of the year of getting better at the things that he does well. We've dressed things up nicely. He's done a nice job with some motions. Cutter's certainly processing it. And then there's some things that's happening during the game that you love to see. Just the way he's throwing the ball, the spots that he's throwing it. And as you do that, you see people making, good catches. And a lot of things just look routine, which is what we all like. When you're just sitting there watching ball and seeing things look routine, that's what you want. But I think receivers are making really nice catches. I thought the third down efficiency was exceptional. A couple third downs that we didn't get, we converted the fourth downs. I also think the 2 fourth down conversions that we got to open up the second half, I believe that was the first possession of the second half, right? The fourth down. Because it was a 13-play drive. The fourth down conversions were huge. I mean, that's demoralizing, as you're on a long drive.
Mark Simmons, Green, and Jordan Waddell.
Yeah, I wanted to address that with my opening statement as well. Really disappointed for these young men and our team, but unfortunately they will be out the remainder of the year. So they have significant injuries that will require surgery. So really disappointed and really greatly appreciate the leadership that they've shown and the way they've played.
Mark, do you think Alex will be back soon?
I hope so. More than likely out at least a week or more as well.
Mark, you talked about Bush's play calling. He said after the game that when he's calling it aggressively, he has to acknowledge sometimes bad things are going to happen. You just respond and move over. Is that a philosophy change, or is that just getting more comfortable with what's going on?
I think we all, feel comfortable when the operation is like that. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you could be coaching a team and no disrespect. Yeah. No, but and if you're throwing and catching and doing that, I mean, hey, Mark Stoops will throw it 50 times a game if it's efficient. I mean that. I do feel like there's always a physicality part of the game that has to be there. But the efficiency of the offense and throwing it, opens up other things as well. And you want to keep people off balance. And I think it's, the vision that's there in the location, and then the guys making catches. The players are growing as well. And I think that has a lot to do with the way the quarterback plays.
Coach, David Rayner seems to be playing pretty consistent all throughout the season, but I feel like the last 2 weeks, you can just see how free that he's playing out there. Is that something that you all noticed as well?
Yeah, I agree. Starting with the opening play of this game, I thought he was very aggressive and, pulled the trigger and made a very disruptive play on the opening play of the game. I think he's a guy that, he can play explosive. He has that knack for, maybe sometimes you're watching film, it's not perfect, but he plays ball, which is what you want out of an inside linebacker. Just the instincts there. He's played a lot of football, and he's been a really good leader. So very proud of him.
Mark, is there an update on Tavion Gadsden?
Yeah, Tavion, let's hope he'll be back to full strength this week. Yeah, we'll take it day by day right now.
In his absence, Jaden Williams.
Yeah, really good to see. Just really good. Sometimes it is a little different when you get into the games. And we want to see this on the practice field. We want to see consistency. We want to have trust to get guys into games. But when they get in there and they produce, that's a good thing as well.
He usually has played quite a bit, rotating in there. So what have you just seen from him now that he's going to be asked to do more?
Yeah, Cam is just, I have a lot of trust in Cam. He's played a lot, as you mentioned. Probably could play more, but those two guys are playing so good, with Ty and Jay Love. So I think they're both, they're all really good players. Cam is a guy that we look at as a starter, and he'll do a nice job. And, it'd be good to get Dylan going and certainly C4, he's a guy that's, we also have a lot of trust in. It's kind of that balancing act that you don't want to burn red shirts, for not a lot of plays, but we're getting kind of thin here, and the guys are very willing to play. Between the two of those youngsters, we have some games to play with, and so we just kind of try to manage that. the last 3 games here.
Will there be any thoughts of maybe moving some corners or something like that to safety, or do you feel good about the freshman?
No, we feel good about the young guys, being able to go in there and do that. We certainly could do that. I mean, Q Scott, you saw him actually the way we were rotating that defense. He was in a safety position there, and the overlap on the interception, just with the way we were disguising and doing some things there. He's very versatile, but he's playing so good at that position. You don't want to mess with that. And you've heard me say through the years how important that nickel position is. He's gaining valuable experience there and playing very well. And we kind of don't want to mess with that.
How do you feel Grant Godfrey has come along, and though he played, I think, career high snaps on Saturday?
Yeah, again, really proud of Grant. I thought he really stepped up, did some really good things. The experience of playing a talented team in space against Florida with some backs, you know what I mean? Want to continue to see proper angles, leverage, just playing. But he's, we appreciate it because we trust him more and more.
It looked like DJ Waller went all the way through warm-ups on Saturday.
Yeah, DJ was very close. I feel like he really wanted to go in that game. We couldn't see him fully open up, leading up to it. It's getting very close. Let's hope, this last 3-game stretch, he can be at full speed. He's another one. Because of the situation we were in, certainly he was a guy that was playing as good as anybody on our defense, but, with the way it's played out, we have 3 games to play with for a red shirt for him as well. So now, hopefully get to it.
Marcus,
As much as we don't like to admit it, teams do play down to their competition. How does the fact that Tennessee Tech is 10-0, how will that play into how you motivate?
I hope it really helps our team because it should. Anybody, you give them all credit. I know there's some teams out there. I mean, credit Indiana, the way they came back this week and won. I mean, there's some teams that, when you're undefeated, it says a lot. You know how to win. And these guys have done that. It's a credit to them. And, it should get our team's attention. Our team has been very motivated with ourselves in trying to improve and just trying to get better. If we continue that approach, then we'll play well. Because fully admit, we hadn't always done that, here. And we want to. We preach it, we talk about it, we coach it, but it doesn't always happen. The better football team you become, the better you'll play each and every week.
Can you talk a little bit about their offense and the problems it poses? Because they score a lot of points.
They do. They got a quarterback with a lot of experience. They have some experience across the board with their team. They're very multiple. They're a group that will get into quite a bit of sets. You'll see a lot of 11. You'll see the standard sets out of 11, but you'll see big sets. You'll see 12. You'll see 21. You'll see 13. You see multiple sets. They do a really nice job. Anytime you get a quarterback that can make plays and create and that's confident, I think he plays very confident, and he rubs off on that team.
Mark, you don't like false confidence. You've spoken about it before, and yet this team has gone through so much adversity. They still seem legitimately confident. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think just, early when we, you look at it across the league. You look at big picture, like I tell them a lot, like nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Watch the NFL, watch SEC football. It's tough. And when you feel like you have the opportunity to win games, you're making your plays short, at times and doing things you can do. It's just about us getting better and making those plays when you need to. Not always, but I mean, we know, we're capable and we know we're getting better. I think it's a tribute to the coaches and a tribute to the players that you could definitely see the team getting better as we move forward. So we just want to keep that mindset.
Your team has also been great in limiting distractions, and Zach had that little video this week that went viral. How did you feel about that, and how did you or the team deal with that?
Well, we're always going to be a program built on development and accountability. Always have been and always will. And mistakes are going to happen, and those become coaching moments. To all of us. So Zach made a mistake. He acknowledged it, and he's apologized for it, and we've addressed it, and we're going to try to move on.
Senior day coming up this week. I think this is the last group of guys with COVID years available. How different is it going to be back to getting getting back next year to a roster without these 23, 24, 25-year-old guys on it.
Well, we think,
We will see. There's always litigation against the NCAA. So
Did your opening statement about an early game fight, like how different is it going to be just getting out there early and having
Yeah.
having a Saturday night to yourself?
Well, it will be nice to play during the day and see some sunshine. No, we love the night games. It's a nice mixture. We've talked about it all the time. The atmosphere, here and on the road. It's challenging on the road. It's nice to be home and, have everybody juiced up and energized and all that. But it's also nice to play college football sometimes and see the sun. And, for our players, I think health-wise, honestly, people don't think about that. When you constantly play night games and these young men get home late, wired up after a game or on the road, getting home at 3 a.m. It adds up now. It takes its toll on them. And, and that's something that I think we all have to take into consideration. But, and that gets back to, I don't want to get it on a tangent about, Zach's situation or just in general, but you look at what happened in the NFL and mental health and what goes on with kids and the challenge. It's hard, man. It's hard. And, that's one thing I'll say that I'll stick up for our team. We are going to be accountable. And we've acknowledged that. He's acknowledged that. We will continue to do that. And there's no excuse. But there's also no place to reward these people that call themselves trolls. There's no place for that for young people.
Coach, we've talked to Seth the past weeks before the wins, and he always would say this team is so close to getting there, and now we're finally seeing what this team has seen in themselves. For you, is this the expectation you saw in this team as well, and what you were hoping?
Absolutely, what we're hoping. I think you've heard me say it, and I know I've said it in here. I understand it's a results business. I'm a big boy. I handle it. I understand that. But I also know what this team was getting better in certain areas. You have to have a lot of pieces together to win in this league. Heck, half of our league, guys, have the same amount of league victories as us right now. Hear that. That's tough. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's a grind. 8 teams in our league have 2 or less. No excuses, just fact, right? It's fact. We're just trying to get better, and I appreciate their effort.
Now that you have stacked up some wins, what's the message to ensure that the foot does stay on the gas and that momentum keeps rolling down the hill?
I think just those guys understand the reward of just playing well, right? The results are the results. A lot of times, and what you've heard me say, it's not lip service, it's the truth. You play some great team, you know what I mean? The results are what they are. If you prep the right way, play your butt off, and play hard and execute in critical moments, you're going to give yourself a chance. And that preparation is what matters. And that mindset is what matters. And so how they approach this week is what matters. The results are the results. You know what I mean? And we want to win. But you have to do those things or you have no chance.
Mark, both your offensive tackles obviously sort of moved up the food chain, so to speak, pretty far into this. How do you feel they've played?
But the tackles, you see, yeah. Really, across the board, really pleased with the way the offensive line is playing. There's going to be moments, but again, watch who they're playing against. Watch, it's going to happen. And watch the NFL. And these guys are the best in the world. It's hard to block those guys, all the time. And so there's going to be some mishaps. But in general, their fight has been tremendous. They've been very physical in the run game. In the pass game, very solid. I think we had 1 sack in this game. And, so not perfect, but playing very well, in general.
Mark, everybody's happy when the offense is rolling. What is the one big misperception that maybe fans and media have about a Mark Stoops offense that you want to dispel?
Well, I'm going to say something that'd be the headline. I was going to say, Mark Stoops is not an idiot. But no, you absolutely want what we're seeing at times right now lately is balance and some excitement in the offense. You have to be able to do that. Otherwise, you drop back and you get wrecked, and that doesn't look pretty, right? I mean, that's not what you want. You have to be capable of it, and you have to work towards it. We've always tried to have that balance. Again, if we can drop back and throw it 50 times a game and be extremely efficient and be exciting and throw it around, then hey, let's do it. It's pretty hard to do for just about everybody.
So where do you think this idea of, hey, if Mark Stoops could run the football every time he would, and he handcuffs his offensive coordinator, where does that come from?
Well, that whatever, you could write what you want. I mean, handcuffing and, that's, whatever everybody wants to say. I'm the head coach, I'm responsible for it all. So I could take anything that's written, it really is. But, I think it's fair to say, I've made no bones about it since I've been here, we need to be physical, and I want to be physical. And if we weren't, I wouldn't have been here this long. You know what I mean? So that I know. We want to do all things well.
Brad said something after the game about keeping the taste in their mouth from the Tennessee game.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you need to remind your guys? Like it can go.
Yeah, I think it's definitely because you play so many talented teams. I mean, look at what number 8 did this past Saturday from Auburn. That's who we play every week. Like, those guys are on every roster. You know what I mean? They're scary. And, you have to play that way. I've always said this when I was a coordinator or whatever, like going back to being at Arizona and playing USC. Like, we traditionally played pretty good against those teams. I think, you have to have a sense of fear. And don't say that don't misquote me. Don't misquote me like I'm afraid of anything. Like, you think I'm afraid, let's go to the alley. You know what I mean? So, but you have to play with a fear that way. Does that make sense? Like, you have to play on edge and with a fear, with an alertness to you on defense, or you will be hurt. And it happens all the time.
After the 2 conference wins, you were interviewed live on TV, and the issue with motions came up a couple of times. And then Cutter today on TV talked about the emotional state of this team, and he talked about how much these guys want to play for and win for you. Why do you think he feels that way? Why do you think that's permeating throughout the team?
Well, I appreciate that, but I want it more. I think, what he means by that is he wants to play for all of us, and I'm part of that, all of us. And I want to win for them, and, so I appreciate that. We're all in this together. I've always said that. I'll tell you this, you remember I said it a long time ago, in here, that they do not have to worry about me. I will not flinch, ever. And I'll be fine. And, I want to win for them, and they want to win for us, all of us. And that's a great mindset.
Last one, John.
We talked so much about the bowl streak last year. How big would it be now that that's in reach again to get that back to where it was just?
I think it's important. I don't deny the things that are right in front of you that are true, that are real. You know what I mean? It is important, but let's just win this week, and that's not coach speak. That's truth. You keep on stacking good things on top of good things, and, the results will be there.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.